Good evening. Welcome to the Man Cave. It's Thursday night once again. Brother Jeff in Orlando and Tanya's upstairs running the show, and we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Jason Taylor from Matchless Cabinet. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here. Glad to be here.
And we're going to kick off every Thursday night just like we do. I'm going to have a drink, and I think tonight I'm getting out the Southern Star, a Paragon. That's one of these wheated bourbons from my local. There's a local distillery a few miles east of here that I really like. So, Jeff, you having a drink with us tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Having Jack number 7 tonight.
Awesome. Tanya?
I'm having some water.
And Jason, what are you having tonight?
I'm representing the original hometown brewery, bringing in frame here, Boulevard Pale Ale.
Awesome. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh,
Ryan, what is this? Modelo Sandia Picante? Is this like a spicy beer or something?
Ryan, glad you could make it. I saw Anurag's here. We've got a few of our regulars getting things kicked off here tonight. But guys, I've not met Jason before, and let me tell you why he's here. In the Kamado Guru Facebook group last week or the week before, I saw a post come up about a grill I'd never seen before. So it's not a Kamado grill traditionally. So I start asking some questions. I want to make sure that this grill, really fits in the theme of our group. So I started drilling Jason. I hope not too hard on what makes this a Kamado. And Jason answered the questions properly, and he's involved with this grill that we're going to talk about. I want to show you some pictures. I put Jason to work. I made him make a bunch of pictures that he didn't have already, so I can show you guys what this grill is. But Jason is with Jason. Your company is Matchless Cabinet.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. And Tanya, I'm going to bring you back a little bit later. So Matchless Cabinet. Tell us, give us a 60-second rundown on Matchless Cabinet and what your company is.
Yeah. So we are partnered with a cabinetry manufacturer that we specialize in powder coated aluminum cabinetry. It's all modular, pre-built, kind of predefined with lots of different styles and sizes of cabinets. But what it's particularly well suited to is building an outdoor kitchen or outdoor cooking space, right? Because it's powder coated and weather sealed and gonna hold up to the elements and everything fine. And I've long been a barbecuer, long been a Kamado guy. So that's kind of naturally where we went first with our business was helping people affordably and easily configure, plan, and build kind of the outdoor kitchen of their dreams. And it's been fantastic for us. So we started about 1.5 years ago, and I think we've shipped outdoor kitchen setups to over 40 states at this point, including Hawaii, which was pretty fun.
Right. I've got your website up here, and I'm kind of scrolling through some of the pictures and showing, some of the stuff you guys make. These grill carts look like really nice setups. It looks like you can probably have a grill cart made in about any kind of configuration you want for whatever your grill needs are.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we've all of our grill carts there are kind of pre-built, for either one or two grills. The nice thing about that duo cart is any two Kamados. It doesn't matter if you want to mix a Primo and a Kamado Joe or a Big Green Egg and a Primo or whatever, in any size, you can fit in and put them there together. Absolutely.
So
and the other
bread
thing,
and butter of your business.
I wouldn't say the bread and butter. We probably do a third of our business is in those carts because it's really quick and easy. What color do you want? What size Kamado do you have? And we get it shipped out to you. Whereas the rest of our business is going to be people who are building kind of a full outdoor kitchen, and they want to fit in a Kamado or a traditional gas grill or a flat top and a refrigerator and a sink and everything else. And so we do a lot of that as well.
So,
and
you're based out of?
So I'm based out of the Kansas City area. Everybody, go Chiefs. We're pretty happy over here these days. We're still riding that high. I'm based out of Kansas City, and our factory and our production is all in northern Indiana. Our manufacturing partner is an Amish-owned business. And when I tell people that we're Amish, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, I think, with the Silver Rocket, sometimes their first reaction is, oh, it must take a while to build the cabinets. Doing metal cabinets by hand without power tools must take some time. And I laugh because, that's not the case at all. We actually have a state-of-the-art, super modern production facility. Everything's cut on giant, sheet-fed laser cutters and a lot of mechanical bending. About the only thing that we do by hand anymore is welding. So all of our welds and stuff are still done by hand.
Speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, one of my homeboys used to be a Chief, Mr. Ryan Suckup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan's from my hometown here. And,
nice.
I used to actually do sports photography for the local newspaper when Ryan played football and soccer at the local high school. So, yeah. We know a Chief over here.
Good.
He was Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last man in the draft that year. Number 256.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made big news here, and he had a great career. So
yeah, he really did. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
anyway,
and yeah, so obviously, we spent a lot of time helping people build outdoor kitchens, and naturally, where that conversation went was, well, can you provide grills and stuff as well? So that's been a big part of our growth here this year. Is we're doing a lot of expansion of our offerings, including grills. We're doing some partnerships. That cart that you showed earlier that has the Evo in it. Evo is now selling those directly through all of their dealers as well. So we co-developed that with them, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then on a recent trip to Indiana to visit our factory manager said, you've got to come down the road here with me to this other shop and see what they're doing with this grill. And we walked in the showroom, and that's where I got introduced to the Silver Rocket and the Sonic Rocket, and spent a little bit of time with that and said, I really like this.
Okay, this, guys, is the Silver Rocket.
Yeah.
I brought one of the pictures up. There are multiple configurations of this, and we're going to look at several of them here in the beginning. But this, as you can see, guys, this is kind of like a Kamado, and it's kind of not like a Kamado.
Mm-hmm.
It has some of the similar characteristics. And Jason, just tell us, what's similar here to a Kamado. My audience is primarily Kamado people, and let's talk about how this is like a Kamado grill.
Yeah, so it has some of that shared DNA in the theory and how it operates, and in some of the properties and how it's constructed. So most obviously it's going to be airflow control, and you've got your firebox with venting below it, venting at the top. You use that to control your temperature by how much air is coming through. And then the fact that when you're looking at this picture, it's hard to tell, but that entire thing is double walled stainless steel. So just like a Yeti tumbler, right? It's double walled, but the entire thing, both the bottom and top, are lined with a ceramic thermal blanket. So the insulation property of it is kind of this combination of a ceramic Kamado, but with this layer of metal wrapped around it all.
So it's highly fuel efficient, just like
extremely. So I'm gonna put it to the test for the first time this weekend. I've got a couple sitting in my garage. I've been keeping new and shiny for all the photos, some of that you're about to show. But I'm really excited. One of the first things I'm going to do is put 5 pounds charcoal in it, start it low and slow, and see how long it'll hold. 225 to 250. The manufacturer tells me 36 hours.
He's a lot like us, Jeff. That's one of the, when I get a new grill, and I'm putting a new pellet grill through this process right now. But I like to know what its capabilities are. I geek out, and Jeff does the same thing. When we get a new grill, we want to get to know that grill.
Yeah.
We need to understand that grill's personality, and we want to understand how that grill behaves, so we know what to expect from it. And that's one of the things that I would do right away is figure out how long I can run it on how much fuel, because in a grill like this, the best case is to use just the right amount of fuel for however long you want to run it, and knowing that is important.
Absolutely.
So some of these first few photos that we're running through here are some of the marketing photos. And I'm assuming this guy right here is a huge grill.
It's an absolute unit. It's huge, and I think clocks in at a hair under 700 pounds to give you an idea. Yeah, it's massive. Like some of the Kamado Joes, the one you showed before is the medium, and that lid, man, it is so heavy to lift. The lid alone, I think, is like 20-some pounds, but
Right.
on the large, it actually has a spring assist on it as well.
This is the large.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, I didn't ask you for these numbers, but this has got a flat grill surface on it. What are the dimensions on this guy's grill surface? Do you know right off the top of your head?
Oh, I can tell you real quick how many square inches it is. I don't have the exact dimensions in front of me, but I will tell you that large is 640 square inches,
Okay.
which is almost on par with a double XL egg.
Okay. So that XXL egg, that's a round grate, and it's I don't remember what the diameter. I know their XL is 24 inches. It's the same size as the Big Joe. Jeff, do you know what the diameter is on the double XL Big Green Egg?
Nope. I'll look it up.
I don't know either.
So, and I just found it's 21 by 30.
21 deep by 30 wide. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of grill estate there. But this Silver Rocket line is, I'm assuming they're all stainless steel on inside and out.
Yeah. So inside and out, because that's where that double wall stainless, ceramic blanket in between the walls, and then in the firebox area, then it's got an additional layer of fire brick all around. That's kind of similar how the Kamado Joe is.
We're going to see that in some pictures. So I guess this is another angle of that big grill.
Yep.
But the things look like absolute tanks. And
really
this,
is.
I'm guessing, is a standalone model that's going to sit in like one of your cabinets or one of your carts.
No, that's actually a little deceiving. That's the tailgate model, right? That's going to be
a small guy.
Yep. So that's going to be pretty similar to like a Mini Max or a Joe Jr.
Well, yeah, I don't have anything there to give it size scale. So how big is this guy?
It's pretty small, heavy, but small. Let me bring that up. So it's about 8 by 11.
Okay, so that is pretty small.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, the XXL is 672 square inches.
Okay, so yeah, that's the right size. So you could smoke a Boston butt in this thing.
You probably could.
Okay, here's another picture of one of these in one of the rolling carts.
Yep.
So that gives that one a little more perspective. This is the medium one, I would think?
That's that medium. Yep, that's right. And that
And,
medium is let me see. It is 16 by 23, so about 370 square inches, just about, which puts it right in between a large and XL Big Green Egg.
Okay. All right, now these are some of the photographs, guys, that I asked for Jason to make for us, because I told him if we're going to talk about this grill here, the details are what we wanted to see. And
I appreciate that, because that's the little things that I geek out over too. So
this is I guess the front side of the grill showing how the temperature probe mounts. That looks like one of those 13/16 NPTs.
Yeah. Yep. So it's threaded. The hood itself is 10 tapped all the way through. And so, we take that collar in there because it's that double walled. We want to keep things insulated, right? So that's all welded in place and then tapped out for that true temp to get threaded in place and lock in.
And that looks like a pretty serious thermometer. It looks like it's cased in stainless steel also.
Yeah. So it's a true temp, I believe.
Is that like a 3-inch dial?
I'd have to go out and take a look at one, but it's somewhere Tel-Tru. That's what I meant.
Tel-Tru, okay.
I'd have to go out and look. I think it's probably around 3.5.
Well, Tel-Tru is kind of they're the what's the term I'm looking for, Jeff? Here, they're the gold standard in barbecue thermometers. Everybody that's anybody is aware of Tel-Tru. Tel-Tru makes add-ons. You can if your smoker or grill doesn't have a Tel-Tru, you can go to their website and they'll have one that you can replace yours with. They're really high quality. They're really nice. And there's what it looks like from. Yeah, it's just extremely well made. And that guy is just going to thread right into the lid of that grill. That makes it really easy. It's not using a wing nut on the inside to hold it in place. It's done the really right way here, it looks like.
Yeah, and that's all about that thermal encapsulation, right? We don't want to give up some heat loss there.
Now here's something that impresses me, because every grill on the market, in my opinion, comes with substandard casters on it, and this one doesn't look like that's the case.
That's true, and we actually use these same casters on all of our grill carts. It's a 5-inch caster, super heavy duty. I've told people, you ever go to a trade show or a conference where they got those big kind of plush carpets out there, and you got this giant cart that's loaded up with 500 pounds, and I can push one of those with a single hand over those big plush carpets because they're just fantastic casters.
I'm familiar with it. I replaced the casters on both of my Kamado Joe Classics with 5-inch casters that look similar to those. They're not quite the same thing, but I put 5-inch casters on both of mine.
Yeah. And I tell you, the other thing that I really like about that, what you'll notice is there's no hardware on there. It's not bolted in place. You don't have anything that's going to rust out. That leg that's in the base is actually solid stainless. And then that's drilled out and tapped as well for that caster to just screw into fully.
So it just spins in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. These are the air intake vents on the lower side of one of these. So this is either the medium or the large, correct?
That's the medium, yep. And so the large will have that exact same, just 2 of them, one on either side.
One on each side. And I noticed in one of the pictures we had of the full, it looked like the full size picture of the medium, that this is on a box that protrudes out from the front.
No. But I'll tell you about that because I've actually got that here. So those vents do come off so that, for one, you can clean the firebox down below, because then you've got a big opening to get full access to the firebox. But what you saw was this guy, cold smoker attachment. Kind of hard to show up in here.
Hang on just a second. Let me
here we go.
Let me get you up.
Okay, that's perfect. So you can pop that vent off.
Post that again.
All right, you can pop that vent off, and in its place, put on the cold smoker attachment. It has the same style of vents on front, and you can see, I'll spin it around here.
So there's attachment.
Yeah, there's a little, elevated platform in there, and just from the hopper in top, you flip this baby open, fill it up. I'm gonna drop those right away, right? But you fill it up with your favorite, pellet, wood chips, whatever you're gonna use for chunks, and then you can cold smoke.
Okay.
Nice.
Which I think is awesome, because how many times have we seen somebody who's rigged up a mini max and some heat duct into their large to try to cold smoke?
Right. Now let me figure out how to go back to where we were.
Sorry.
Let's see here.
I should have warned you. I brought stuff for show and tell.
Okay. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So once again, this is all stainless steel, and this has got these handles on these vents are the cool handles that aren't going to get hot to where you can't touch those. So
Right.
And that looks like it's all stainless.
It is. Yep.
The side shelves. Once again, that's all stainless, and this is a picture of one of them in the down position.
And one thing you'll note right there is there's two small little holes in that side rail, and when you put it up, it uses that to lock into place, which you see in one of the next pictures, I think.
Yeah, you can see the little tabs on the.
Yeah, there you go. Little details like that, I'm just a huge fan of.
And that looks like it's significantly strong to where you could put some weight on that without having to worry about any give of any kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this is a handle view of one of the top chimney vents.
Yep.
And it looks like it rotates around these oval openings where you can adjust how much exhaust opening you have just by sliding that one direction or the other.
Exactly.
And here's that disassembled. That piece comes completely off. So if you wanted to really create a hard draft in there, you just pop it off, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And that's all stainless. Don't have to worry about any powder coating flaking on that.
No.
No. Yeah. Okay. Is this a grill grate handler?
That is. Yeah, it's pretty handy. It can work for a few things. You know, I didn't send you a picture of it, but everyone has a flat top griddle these days. We do have a steel griddle plate that can go on it, and the same thing. It's just got a slot in the side where you can grab onto that and lift that whole griddle off as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it works great to lift the grate. There's an ash tool.
So that's for raking ash out of the bottom.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. And
stainless
steel spatula.
And I gotta tell you guys, it's a spatula, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who on earth manufactures their own spatula and they make it out of a solid piece of stainless?
Nobody.
That's
all farmed out to overseas manufacturing.
Yeah, this one's not. It's made right in the same factory, right next door, workstation wise to the grill.
So here's what the grill configuration looks like in one of these. So stainless steel grill grates with an elevated rack.
Yep. And the legs on that rack just hinge right in, so you can put it back down flat for easy storage somewhere.
Okay. And that, I'm assuming that elevated rack will come right off of there.
Oh yeah, it just lifts right off.
So it looks like there's a horizontal leg over here where that piece is just sitting there on that rack. Okay.
Yep. So
that would easily lift out of there.
Oh yeah, very.
Okay. It's not really hooked in or fastened in. It's just gravity resting there.
Right. Now the one thing that I wish they would improve, and I'm going to talk to them about this, is when you lift that up, gravity is going to drop those legs back straight down where they need to be out a little bit. And having a way to lock the legs in place.
Oh, okay.
So when your hands are full, when you got a rack of ribs or whatever up there, and you got to move it to be able to get it back with a single set of hands.
Okay, I see. So these legs,
it just pivots in there.
The legs that are holding that fold flat up underneath it.
Right.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, yep. A lock would be great there, where
that way you can in the middle,
and you could do it with one hand.
Yep, exactly.
Agreed. That would be an interesting update for that for sure. That would be something. That'd be something I'd complain to you about if I was.
Just a little notch in both sides of that. Fix that right.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to fix that.
I'll tell you, and that's actually it laid flat right there. I actually complained about it as I was trying to move it with one hand and had a camera in the other, and I got to set the camera down so I can put these legs back out.
Yeah, it would be an easy fix. So, and this is one of these folded flat.
Yep.
Okay. So now we're looking at the main grill grate, looking down into the grill. You can see the fire bricks lining the firebox of this guy.
Yep.
Those look pretty heavy. And is it a stainless steel fire grate at the bottom?
It is.
Okay.
It is. And that fire grate at the bottom. Here's the thing: those bricks are heavy enough and enough work to put in place the first time. I didn't want to remove them all to take a new picture.
Right.
But that fire grate is all stainless, and it's like half inch square stainless rod. I mean, I want to say that grate probably weighs 12 pounds. I mean,
so it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. It's not going to warp. Not going to bend. Yeah, none of that.
This picture also gives you an opportunity to look at the border around this grill and the border around the lid that's up here. You can see the thickness there of the double wall thickness of the inside of this grill. It looks pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Does this grill, does that insulation make the grill cool to touch on the outside when it's at temperature, or does it still get pretty hot on the outside?
It does. I haven't had a chance to put it through its test yet. But you know what the owner of the factory who makes these told me is they just to test it out once. You know, they're in northern Indiana. The weather was frigid, but they cranked it up to 700 degrees with full load of coal, closed the lid, piled a bunch of snow on top, and a couple hours later, the snow is still there.
Well, that's answering that question. It's not getting that hot. It's doing pretty well. So here's another look. Is that grill grate hinged, or is it just sitting there?
So it's just sitting there, but if you look, there's two little tabs that hold it in place. So you can just lever it up.
Where you can raise it up and access your firebox.
Right.
Okay, so if you wanted to add coal or needed to add coal or wanted to add a couple of chunks of hickory in there to make it taste right, you know, it's got to be hickory before it tastes right.
Got hickory.
So yeah, that's pretty slick. There's a closer picture of that tab where I'm sorry, I did not go through these photos in detail before we started. I just made sure that I just wanted to make sure I had them lined up that were in the order.
You know what? I like this. I sent them without explanation, and I'm liking watching your process of figuring out what each little thing is.
Yeah. Well, Jeff and I have had our hands in grills for a while, and we've had our hands in a few of them, and you know, it's intriguing. This is the commentary here. Is the same sort of thing I'd be standing in a showroom saying. I'd be saying, yeah, this is what this does, or looking at it. Jeff, what do you think?
I think it's an awesome grill. Is that kind of a felt material I'm seeing on the top?
It is. It's basically the exact same gasket that kind of comes by default on an egg.
Mm-hmm.
It's one piece. You only need to do it on the one side. We recommend the top.
Agreed.
Yeah.
One of these days, the Kamado manufacturers are going to learn that. One of these days.
Well,
you think?
And I think there's two things to our advantage here that make it so you don't need it, and why Big Green Egg especially is always needed on both sides is one, the weight of that hood is going to keep you shut firmly. And the other is, I mean, we all remember before they improved the design of having the overbite or underbite on the Big Green Egg if your band's warped and that sort of thing, and then having a seal on both sides helped with that some. It wasn't perfect. But the way that we're built, because we don't have this big band going around it, it's machined parts holding things right where they're supposed to be. We're never going to have that as an issue. That's
what I was going to say. I don't think overbite, underbite fitments could ever even come up on that.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But the gasket now, Kamado Joe, I'll have to give Kamado Joe kudos for this. I don't know if you've ever seen the pellet Joe. Their pellet Kamado. Well, they don't have a gasket on the bottom side, on the top of the bottom piece of the dome. It's only on the top piece. It's a steel piece around the top of the ceramic, and
interesting.
that saves a lot of heartache, because one of the things I'm guilty of it, and I know every other cook out here is when you're working at the grill, you know, if you're saucing something, you're going to spill sauce on the gaskets. Or when you pick meat up, you're going to drip grease on the gasket.
Yep.
And it's going to be on that lower gasket. But when you close it and create an opportunity for that sweet, sugary Kansas City barbecue sauce to glue those two pieces of gasket, when you open that lid back up, it's going to rip both of them loose.
Makes a great glue.
Yeah. Sugar's a better glue than super glue when it gets hot. So yeah, especially in here. But the only thing I would say there, and Jeff, I hope Jeff will back me up on this, but Jeff and I, through Kamado Joe, have become a big fan of these fiberglass mesh gaskets. I don't know if it's the really right solution here or not, but you know, it's like a typical oven door gasket.
Yeah, I've always liked Kamado Joe's gaskets. I mean, truthfully, having started on a Big Green Egg almost 20 years ago, and kind of seeing all the evolution of Kamado Joe's, I'm going to say feature set, right? There's a lot of nice stuff. There's some gimmicky things as well, I think. I'm a keep it basic sort of guy, but that fiberglass gasket that they use, I think, was an absolute game changer. So, you know, as I get more familiar with these grills and use them more, I'm interested to see how, you know, this factory default works out. And, you know, the beauty of it, of being a, you know, smaller manufacturer who's really, really passionate about this stuff, is, you know, a lot of big corporate companies, if they want to make a change like that, it's going to take them a year to do.
Right.
If we decide we're going to do it, it'd be the next week.
Well, the good thing, let's not overlook this. The good thing about this Nomex style gasket is they're inexpensive and they're easy to replace if you ever need to replace them.
Yep.
You know, you can buy that stuff all day long on Amazon from several different brands. And I've used a bunch of these different brands in various other capacities, and they're real easy to put on. So, but once again, it's one of these situations where you would want to do a little proactive, and when you see stuff spilled on that, just wipe it up. Don't let it tear your grill up.
Yeah. Well, hey, trust me, like, I'm the guy who's going to be out here with barkeeper's friend and a sponge cleaning the stuff off the stainless that spilled, because the same thing happens there.
Right. So yeah. And this is a firebox. When I look down inside of this firebox, Jeff, when you look down inside of this firebox, does anything come to mind that you've seen in the past?
Yeah, alpha oven.
Well, not necessarily that, but yeah. This, I'm looking inside.
Kind of looks like a kiln. Well,
this in the Kamado world, it reminds me of the beefiness of the Kamado, and how those fire bricks are probably an inch thick or an inch and a half.
I think they're inch and a half. Yeah, I think I sent you a picture with that brick cover off, and you can get a good idea of it. But
okay,
yeah,
I think they're
picture. Inch and a half.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, those might be inch. I'd have to go ahead and measure to be sure. Yeah, it looks like inch.
But heat retention there. This is just one of the things that, in my mind, puts this into the Kamado category. Is the thermal mass inside of this oven. The stainless steel itself doesn't have that much thermal mass, but these blocks do, and that's what allows this thing to come back up to temperature quickly when you've had the lid open and close it back. That's where the heat's stored. So yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of thermal mass too. Do you have any idea about how many pounds of ceramic that is, or how many pounds of refractory cement or whatever those are made of?
You know, I don't. That's interesting. I will say, when I unloaded it all from the crate, a couple at a time was fine. I wasn't picking up the whole box at once, that's for sure.
Well, this configuration also, all those being multiple pieces, you're not going to have to worry about thermal expansion breaking any of those guys. They're the right size to where they can expand and contract without breaking anything. So that looks That looks pretty serious. Okay.
So
This is going to be the heat shield, correct?
This is, and you were asking me about this, and everything being so shiny and under bright lights in my garage, a little hard to get pictures of. But this is actually it flipped upside down, and I've got it here, so next to me too, if we want to take a look at it. But what I wanted to show is, I mean, it's pretty thick stainless. I want to say it's like a 13 gauge, so it's getting up close to like 1/8 inch thick stainless. Just on its own, but then there's this other piece on the bottom as well that's welded on, and so it does a couple things, right? It helps provide just a little bit more shielding, but where it's smaller, what it's also going to do, and you'll see when you flip it over, is there's a couple holes on the top. So maybe a couple more pictures. I think there's one, but there's a lot that could be said about Kamado Joe's hypercyclonic stratospheric air twirler, right?
Yeah, but the slow roller.
The slow roller. There it is.
Yeah.
But this does allow smoke to come up out of the firebox. This covers the firebox almost completely, but that additional plate at the bottom provides a little bit more of a heat shield that's going to distribute evenly. And then smoke can actually roll up over the edges of that. And then there's a couple small holes on the top side of it to let that up right there and circulate through some. And it's also going to let, if you're doing something you don't have a water pan or whatever too, it's going to let some stuff fall through as well, which is going to generate some steam when it hits coals.
Right.
But yeah, that just sits down there, and as you can see,
so there's an open border around the edge all the way around, just like our round heat shields, our heat deflectors are down in there. It lets heat into the cooking chamber all the way around the outside edge.
Yeah. Now the big difference though is it does completely cover the firebox. You aren't leaving any edge exposed to direct heat. If you have like the I still call it the plate setter, right? Because that's a big grenade used to call it. But if you have that there, on those little sides, you can still get some direct heat, and you don't have that all with this.
Right, because of the shape, the firebox is slightly conical.
Yeah.
And the charcoal down in the bottom of the firebox is in closer, so you wouldn't have. Okay.
Yeah.
Just here's another geek question. Do you know how many inches of clearance you have between the bottom of the firebox and the grill grate level? How deep that is? It probably changes from grill model.
I've got a couple pictures of it. In the medium anyway. It's significant. I'll put it this way, and because you'll see this in the picture, once you pop that vent off the front, well, it's at least as tall as that vent, which is, I think I got a tape measure around here, 3-4 inches. So you've got I think 4 to 5 inches from the floor to the bottom of the firebox.
Okay. So this is another picture of the gap on the outer edge of the heat shield. Okay. And then
that's a little hard to tell. That's actually a pan sitting on the shelf.
Is this a pan that's used inside the grill?
Yep. And so that actually is made to then sit directly on that heat shield and under the cooking grate. So you can use it as a drip pan, water pan, however you want to do that.
So it sits above the heat shield. So you could put a water pan here if you wanted to.
Yep.
Or
so
a drip tray.
Yep. Sits on top of the heat shield, and then the grate can go. It's designed to go right in between it and the grate.
Drip trays are something that I've had a love-hate relationship for the entire time I've been in this hobby. I keep toggling back and forth. I'm going to use a drip tray. I'm not going to use a drip tray. And there's a trade-off, Jeff, between using a drip tray and not, because the one school says it makes cleanup easier. It keeps grease out of places you might not want grease. But there's another school that's a lot smaller class size that says that grease dripping down into there where it's going to get hot and burn and smoke is producing flavor that you can't get any other way. Jeff, what do you think about that? Which mode do you like?
The only time that I'll use a grease tray is if I'm doing 2 butts.
Because of the volume?
Because of the volume.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a single butt, I don't. But if I'm doing 2 butts.
But once again, this is stainless steel. But and what's going to happen? People like me are going to throw that in there, and we're going to line it with foil, so it's easy to clean off. So even though it's stainless, I can pull that foil up and throw it in the garbage can and not have a mess at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a picture of that sitting right down into place.
Right.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah.
So you could put, like you said, you could have just use it as a drip tray, or you could make a water pan out of it.
Yep. Absolutely.
If you wanted to have a high moisture environment. Jeff, we could steam our pastrami or steam our corned beef right there.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Turn that thing into a big steamer.
Yeah.
I know, in the Amish community where they've sold the most of these over the past few years, there's a lot of people do baking, and I don't know if you guys do any bread baking. I do a lot. Right? You've got to have steam. You've got to have moisture. In fact, speaking of which,
okay, now my wheels are turning, because Jeff and I like doing sourdough. Yeah. And sourdough benefits incredibly from steam during the first part of the cook to get that beautiful blistered crust on that sourdough bowl. So
speaking of which, I'm a big pizza guy, and so I've got the Gosney Dome pizza oven,
right?
And they sell a little steam injector for it as well. And I've finally got one ordered, and hopefully going to be here in a couple days. And I'm looking forward to making my first sourdough loaf in that thing, and in the rocket too, because you gotta put them side by side and see which one's better. Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that happens in that is you have more bread.
Right.
Everybody wins.
I think your Gosney Dome may have a slight advantage on the rocket.
Yeah.
And it's only in the aspect that you're not going to have to open the dome lid to put your bread in there. You're not going to have the time that's required for the heat recovery.
I think you're right.
Yeah, this thing looks crazy. So I guess this is like 304 stainless on the grill. So, and there's your grill grate tool that we were talking about earlier. Man, I've quit playing with grate tools. I'm buying these I use these Kevlar gloves. Yeah, and I just pick the stuff up anymore. I haven't picked up a grate tool in ages.
I love those gloves. I bought some new ones the other day. Ditched the old welding gloves, and those kind of synthetic fabric ones are fantastic.
Welding gloves are a sore spot for me because everybody thinks that's the right tool. And those things are not designed to pick up something that's hot and hold it. They're designed to keep hot stuff that's splattering on you from burning you for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Those welding gloves, if you pick up a hot iron pan with one of those, you better be ready to set it down in about 3 seconds.
Yeah. No, I've had those nights where I'm pulling a cast iron pan out of the egg, and I'm yelling at the kid, "Open the door, I'm coming in."
Out of the way, make room.
Welding gloves are not the right tool, man. These Kevlar gloves, I've got 4 different pairs of them around here, and I just recently got asked by another company if I'd be willing to promote theirs, and I took them up on it. I bought a pair of them to determine if I liked them or not, because I've got big hands and fat fingers, so it's got to fit me before I like it to begin with, and I liked them, so I've got that. So I'm
ordering extras.
Keep
them in the kitchen.
I've got 4 pairs of them, so I can have 2 pairs inside, 2 pairs outside. I never have to go far to get a pair.
Yep. In fact, I was just looking for a pot holder tonight to pull a lid off the Dutch oven, thinking, dang it, I only have these gloves outside.
Exactly. So that grill tool looks like it's long enough to give you the torque you need to lift a heavy grill grate with.
Yep.
Especially if you grab it close to the middle. So
Yep,
So,
and you can pop it in that way too and lever it up into that open position we were looking at earlier.
right, okay. So that's
Just
lifting
like
it
so.
up to get it to that, and that'll stay in that position
gonna
right
stay.
there, correct?
Yep.
So there, yeah, you've got full access to, and that's the underside of the table. So you've got the hooks where you can hang the drill tools, everything.
Hooks on both sides. Yep.
Oh, this thing's missing something, Jeff.
Yes,
You're
it
gonna say
is.
bottle opener, aren't you?
It's missing a bottle.
You got it, buddy.
We
gotta have a beer opener.
Jason, we were just joking about this earlier in the week, not with respect to this grill, but I made a comment to these guys that said, I don't know what it is, but it seems like everything related to grilling and smoking, everybody wants to put a bottle opener on their gear. And it seems like if it doesn't have a bottle opener, it's something you don't want. Is this grill going to, are the manufacturers going to put a bottle opener on this?
You know what? I'm gonna take that feedback.
Don't let them
No,
do
you
it.
don't want it. You don't want it.
No,
okay.
no.
All right.
Don't
we'll
let them do it. Resist
clean.
the urge to put a bottle opener on that.
Here's what we'll do. We'll just put a bottle opener in the handle of the spatula. How's that?
See that? No, don't even do that.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
But yeah, it's serious, man. I just noticed that I haven't seen a bottle opener here yet.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
But you would be surprised how many people won't buy a grill if it doesn't have a bottle opener.
Hey, so I just saw a comment from George, said the Amish make it so it won't have a bottle opener. And I've got a secret to tell you because I'm friends with a lot of Amish folks now. They won't go to a bar, but they'll have a drink with you.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of a joke I heard in my younger days. Do you know what the difference between a Baptist and a Methodist is?
Oh, I think I've heard this one, but I forgot the punchline.
The Methodist will speak to you in the liquor store. Now,
yeah.
I hope I haven't offended anybody. Guys, that was all meant in fun, but yeah, most of the people that are hanging out with us here on Thursday night don't mind having a drink because we kick off with that every week. So, yeah.
Now what you've gone to here that we're looking at, you see it's no longer stainless exterior. So that Silver Rocket's a beast. It's also expensive. So what they did recently, after a couple of years of testing, is they built the Sonic Rocket. And so the Sonic Rocket is, for all intents and purposes, the go to shop and then down at the bottom the Silver Rocket grills. Sonic Rocket is the same grill. The difference is it is a powder-coated aluminum body. And so that does two things. Gets you a lot lighter weight and a lot lower cost. And, you might be saying aluminum. Are you sure? Well, it's type 5052 aluminum. You've got to get that aluminum to about like 1300 degrees before you're going to cause any structural issues with it. The powder coat is specially formulated for high heat as well. So, you're going to be okay there. And honestly, aluminum is a better conductor of heat than stainless. And, if you guys have nice, all clad cookware or something like that, it's stainless with an aluminum core and, sometimes multiple layers, because that aluminum heats and retains heat more. It heats evenly, retains heat more efficiently. So in some ways, guess what else I'm going to do? When I load up my Silver Rocket with 5 pounds of coal, I'm going to put 5 pounds of lump in this too, and I'm going to light them at the same time, keep them at the same temperature, and see which one performs better. But it was really just address a little bit different market that didn't want to spend quite as much as what a Silver Rocket was, but give them all the same features and all the same performance.
Right. Someone's asking if it's the same aluminum that's in the PK grills. Are you familiar with the PK charcoal grills?
I know of it. I'm familiar with it and know what it looks like, but I don't know enough about their construction.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either if it's the same formula of aluminum or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to tell there. But yeah, that was something I saw that in these in the pictures. you sent me, I noticed that I didn't know that it was aluminum from the pictures. I thought it
Yeah.
might have been powder coated steel, but
Yeah.
that's
it's
pretty neat.
and so you can see, I mean, the firebox and everything is the same. The main difference is so the cooking grate itself is still stainless,
Right.
but all the other parts that are stainless on the Silver Rocket are then aluminum on the Sonic Rocket.
Okay.
And then here's that firebox.
This is the ash pan.
about.
Okay.
Yep.
This is underneath the firebox.
Yep. So here's what I love.
This gives you a really good perspective of the beefiness of that firebox from this angle.
Yeah. And here's what I love. You know, recently in you know, later years, I've gotten smarter about, you know, having an ash vac for my big green egg and stuff like that. But when you really want to clean out your Kamado, you've got to pull that firebox out, because that firebox sits on the floor, and then you've kind of got that outer ring that you can't ever reach the back side of it and stuff like this. This entire floor is unobstructed, and when you pop that front vent off, and you'll see this in one of the other pictures, you can fit your whole arm in there. You can reach all the way in, and you can access every single square centimeter of that firebox.
Right. It looks pretty spacey underneath there. That's actually enough space there that you probably don't need to clean ash out, but every 8 or 10 cooks.
Yeah. It's there's a lot more in there. Yeah, there's a good idea of that ash tool in there as well.
Right. Okay. So our Kamado guys, they'll clean this thing out with a leaf blower. They'll open the top of it and blow their leaf blower in there to blow the ash out. We don't mess with ash rakes, do we, Jeff?
No.
I'm just kidding. But there are people
I've seen
that
that.
do that.
I've seen that. Yeah, not for me.
We do use vacuums.
Yes. I do like the ash vac I have. It's handy.
Yeah. This is incredible. I'm really impressed with everything I've seen here. So there you go. You can reach all the way in there with your ash rake.
Yep.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Ron asked, what's the gauge on the body and the firebox on these? So on the Silver Rocket, I'm pretty sure it's a 13 gauge stainless. I'd have to go look at my notes somewhere, which I unbelievably don't have handy. Aluminum gauges are slightly different than stainless gauges. What I'll tell you is it's similar. We actually make our cabinetry out of the same, so it's about 1/8 inch thick. But the key to it is the fact that the gauge doesn't matter quite as much, because it's the entire assembly's that double wall insulated.
Right. Okay. And this is that cold smoker attachment.
Yep. And then that's the other nice thing is any of the accessories or attachments that we have are interchangeable between the two, right? So we didn't go and develop a new cold smoker attachment just for the Sonic. We said the one from the Silver Rocket will work on it just fine.
So that cold smoker attachment will work on all sizes and models of that. Cool.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is looking down into the cold smoker from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Capacity for charcoal in each of the grills. That's a good question. I would just, finger to the wind. I'd say a medium can probably comfortably hold about 8 to 10 pounds of charcoal.
And Mark, it's only that one model that's aluminum. It's the Sonic Rocket is aluminum construction on the outside, and the Silver Rocket is stainless steel everywhere. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty serious. Right. Okay. Oops, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let me see here. What am I looking at now?
So that's just that latch on the cold smoker box.
Oh, okay. So it just the top of it latches into position.
Yep, a little cam lever and latches into position.
Right.
I'm super excited about this thing. I can't wait to go out and cold smoke some cheese and fish.
Right.
Just because it should just be stupid simple.
Yep. It looks like it. And there's a picture of the cold smoker fitted onto the front of one of the Sonic rockets. So the air vent that's in place, the standard air vent just pulls out and you replace it with this and it just locks into place. Okay.
Yep. And they are both the vent plate and the cold smoker box both have a felt seal on the backside, same as the seal that goes around the lid. So you get a really tight seal up to the body.
Okay. Nice. Do you have any idea how much of a weight differential there is between the aluminum and the stainless steel on the same size grills?
Yeah, I want to say about half.
Really? So it's that much difference?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I've got both of them sitting in my garage right now, and I'm saying, I think so. We're gonna use the Sonic this weekend. Here's my plan. The silver rocket is going to get built into my kitchen. I'm adding on cabinetry and going to put it in there. But that's going to be one of those things where I've got to completely disassemble it and then still have a couple buddies help me move it. But the Sonic, my wife and I together can wheel that around to the backyard, no problem.
Okay, excellent. And this is the plate, the standard vent for the front. Okay, that's what comes out to put the cold smoker in place.
Yep.
All right. And just another angle of that, and I see that it has Nomex gasket on it as well to make a good tight seal. So this thing's going to be really airtight. I can tell by everything I've seen here that you're going to have a very precise and precision control of airflow through this smoker from the vents.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any no air leaks anywhere.
When you take those air vents off so that you can put the cold smoker attachment on, does that air vent go on the front side of the cold smoker, or does the cold smoker have its own set of air vents?
The cold smoker's got its own.
Interesting.
Okay.
I would have thought you would have put that one on there. Saved a little bit.
I don't know why they did it that way, but the one that's on the cold smoker, it's just all welded in place, and it's a permanent part of it.
That's an interesting question, though. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Good job, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey, great.
Yeah.
Hey, you played Stump the Chump and won.
Jeff's paying attention out there tonight.
I'm not sleeping at the stick.
So this is the hooks on the Sonic rocket.
Yep.
Same tools. Same side table configuration.
The side table configuration there is a little bit simpler, and that's simply because it's a lighter weight shelf. It doesn't need quite as heavy of a leverage mechanism there to hold it in place.
Right.
And
that's
just
the same table folded down.
Slides real easy. Yeah.
Perfect. And this is how that front air vent fits in place. And those clips are what hold the cold smoker in place when you swap those out.
Yep. So you just kind of lift it up and then pop the bottom out of place, and it just drops right out.
Excellent.
And I will tell you, I mean, you talked about how tight that seal is, and it doesn't really show it in the picture because you can see the seal. When that's all brand new, it's pretty tight. Like I actually had a little bit of a struggle getting it put back on because you kind of got to really push that felt in, or that Nomex, I should say.
That'll be a point that I'd like to see after it's been cooked on 100 times, is if that gasket thins out enough to where it loosens up that seal down there or not. That would be interesting. But even if it does, it's a $2 fix.
Right. Yep.
And gaskets, I don't care what people think, gaskets are not lifetime. Gasket is a consumable item on any smoker. So I would expect that would be a real easy fix when the time comes.
And I've been through a lot of them.
Yeah. And this is the same thermometer configuration on the Sonic rocket.
Yep.
It's probably the same thermometer, and it's threaded in. Okay.
Yep.
This is a different top stack. Is this the top stack on the Sonic rocket?
It is. Okay. they did it a little bit differently on this one. You know, I asked about that, and really what it came down to was it had a little bit to do with the aluminum construction and just the cost. It was to help us hit the price point we needed. The top that you see on the silver rocket, that'll be in stainless and multiple parts, and then having everything CNC'd out of it. It's one of those small details that adds a little bit too much cost. So they went with this. We're gonna see over time how it does. I mean, in theory, it's all how big of an airflow opening do you have? Does it matter if you have it kind of daisy wheel style or just one big opening?
Okay.
We'll see.
I see one thing here that my Kamado owners are going to want to know. When you've got that top vent set like you have in this picture here, when you open that lid, is that thing going to stay where you put it, or is it going to fly open all the way?
It's going to stay right where you put it, and if it ever gets loose, it's all serviceable. Add a little washer to the nut and bolt back there to help tighten it up a little bit, and you bet.
Yeah, this is one of the things that with the original model Kamado Joes, and probably with the green eggs also, was a source of contention on the top vents, because when you'd have that daisy wheel cracked open, when you'd pop the dome open, the thing would fly all the way open, and that was one of the things that people hated about the original daisy wheels. So if that's going to stay in place, that's perfect. That's what it should do. So,
that's why I went to a smokeware cap years ago.
Right. And this is the dome. This is the main dome or the cover hinge on the back. I'm assuming.
Yep.
So yeah.
And the thing that I really like about that is it's mounted directly into the body of that grill. I mean, there's no band or other hardware or anything to give way. I mean, it's machined and tapped into there, so it's going nowhere. It's not moving. It's solid.
Perfect. And this is a view from the rear of the same thing. Yeah, that hinge is not going to budge. And I can tell by looking at just that design, there's no way the lid can give forwards or backwards anyway. It's where it's going to be the day you buy it from 50 years down the road. That's not going to move. It can't shift on there. So that's pretty cool. And here's a look at the gasket with the lid closed from the front side of the grill, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And another view of the hinge. Yeah, this is so this rod right here, this is the piece, that bar there in the oval shaped slots, what's rotating when you raise that dome lid.
Exactly.
It's not shifting position anywhere. It's just lifting up in that gap.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So that's the end of our pictures.
Yeah.
So you did a fantastic job of giving me what I asked you for, by the way. I'm impressed.
Hey, we aim to please.
We would need or want to see on that build is there.
Well, now, good.
Jeff, thoughts? What do you think about this?
Looks like a solid unit to me.
Is it missing anything?
Other than the bottle opener for some people. Not for me.
I'm only seeing one thing that I'm wanting to come up shy on this. I want to ask you about it. I don't see a setup for two zone cooking.
Great question. So I asked that myself when I first came across this. So on the large unit, you do, because they actually do that heat deflector is 2-piece in the large unit, so you can easily do that there. That's something that I've requested we take a look at in the future with the medium size. There's enough room on the cooking surface that you could conceivably do that. It would just require that we split that deflector up into 2 pieces.
Actually, along that line, what I'm thinking here, with the size of that firebox, in reality, you could have a 2-zone cook just by moving the fire on half of the firebox. You don't really need a heat deflector to put meat on the other side over an empty part of the firebox. So I guess that would answer that question. There's just not I'm I'm coming from the Kamado Joe world where I've got the 2-zone, I've got the split heat deflectors and all that stuff. And sometimes it takes me a moment to step out of that world. But
well, no, you're right, and that's actually what I really love about the Primo Oval as well. It does 2-zone, fantastic
without
well.
heat shield.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, so I'm actually I should have it arriving any day here. I'm actually replacing my ancient Big Green Egg with a Primo Oval, and that's one of the primary reasons. Because I like the versatility of that setup really well.
So yeah, Ron, there's no bands, no spring assist.
On the large Silver Rocket, there is a spring assist.
Right. Yeah. That's correct. On the big one, there's a spring back there, but there's no bands. It's I think bands are a necessity in the round Kamado. It's an engineering necessity for that to happen. But the way this thing's built, I don't think it's I'm impressed, Jason. I'm very impressed with this. Yeah. How long have these grills been around? Because I had not seen these until you posted a couple of weeks ago in our forum about it.
Yeah. So they built the first Silver Rockets and put them out on the market in 2014, and that was mainly inside the Amish community in kind of the upper Midwest, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Ohio area, and they've sold a few hundred a year just inside that small region, which is amazing to me that they've done that many and then word's never really gotten out. So when they took a look at what I've done with our cabinet business and the fact that we've really built that around people who love to barbecue and love to spend time outdoors and love to grill, it was very, very quick for us to all come to the same conclusion that we could make 1 + 1 = 3 here and take this to a lot of people. And one of the other things that we haven't talked about that I just remembered, I wanted to make sure, and I hadn't even told you about this yet. These guys are even making their own lump hardwood.
Okay.
And it's just a mile down the road from the factory, and they even built the oven that they use to produce all of their lump, and it's fantastic. Right. So you've got this community that is their entire economy is built around the manufacturing world, and a lot of it's furniture, right? So they're taking all the scrap from the hardwood furniture business and using that to make lump, and it's fantastic lump. I mean, it's not like the Jealous Devil where you get like a log in there, but it's good, clean burning, easy to ignite, and it's just impressive that they're that dedicated to the craft that they took the time to say we need to produce our own charcoal as well.
Right. Cindy's posted a question here that I want to address for a second. Cindy says, I want spring assist on everything. And I want to look at that because even on the stainless steel Sonic or Silver Rocket, I'm betting that dome lid is probably not as heavy. I might be wrong. It's not as heavy as a ceramic
on the aluminum.
On the aluminum.
Okay. So I will tell you, on the stainless, even in the medium size that I've got sitting out here, it's heavier than any ceramic lid I've ever lifted.
Is it a harder lift?
I think so, which is why we put the spring. They put the spring assist on the large version. There's no way you'd lift it without that.
Right.
We'll see as we kind of collect some feedback over time. It's something that I've already pointed out. We might need to add a spring assist to the smaller size as well. Now on the Sonic, which is aluminum, it's reasonable, I think, for most people. Now Cindy's comment is great. Sometimes people just want it, right? It's nice to have it kind of an airlift, super easy.
We've got Kamado owners in our audience here tonight that run an age from in the 20s to the 60s and 70s. We've got a different, a demographic, or we've got a very wide demographic here. Yeah. See, Jeff's an old guy. Jeff's really old. And Jeff's got an engine lifter, one of those
Engine
tools that
hoist?
they use in the garage to get his Kamado dome lid open. And it's a pulley system. It's got like 7 pulleys on it. And he has to pull 1.5 miles of cable to get his dome lid up. So,
John, I replaced it with an electric winch.
okay, so he's got to come along in there now. So yeah, but that I don't mean to. I don't want to sound like a Kamado Joe sales guy here, but that assisted dome that they have on that thing is incredible. It takes the weight off the dome lid, and some of our, like I said, our audience is Kamado owners, and most of them are Kamado Joe, and a lot of them are used to that. And I won't say that that's a game changer, but it's a really nice add-on.
Yeah. I don't disagree. That's something that we'll look at as
this
time
this
goes
grill,
by.
guys. The Sonic series, I haven't ever had an opportunity to have a hands on, so I'm new to this just as you are, and I'm asking. That's why we got Jason here. Like I said, when I saw this grill, I said I need to find out more about it, simply because it's not something I've ever seen before. Jason, are you familiar with M grills?
M grills. Sounds familiar. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Because
yeah.
I thought about M grills when I saw your product here. When I saw these Sonics.
Okay.
They're a similar shape. They're not quite the same in all aspects, but they are similar.
Well, and have you ever heard of Kalamazoo?
I have not.
Okay, so Kalamazoo, they make one a little bit similar as well.
Right.
Which is what I first thought of when I first saw it. Kalamazoo is like twice as expensive and looks more like it belongs in an art museum, but it theoretically is kind of the same. But yeah, I'm looking at the M now. I see what you're saying. Absolutely.
And Mark says, is it an Amish-built smoker? And it is,
yes.
Correct?
Yep, absolutely.
It's built in a upper Midwest Amish community. Where is it? Indiana, you said?
Yeah, a little town called Topeka, Indiana, and it's probably like 40 minutes from Fort Wayne.
Is this a family-owned business, or is it a community business?
It is. It's family-owned business, and they've got a neat backstory. They started about 60 years ago making maple syrup evaporators, and that I knew nothing about the maple syrup industry. It requires high efficiency, super precise temperature control, right? So they've already kind of got a history in being able to do that. And then as a son-in-law took over the business, they just saw this need, and people had been asking them to make custom grills and smokers. So they just decided to go this route and innovate. And one of the things that they've done, and so they still have a pretty decent sized evaporator business. And I was blown away. Like some of these evaporators they have, it's not chrome, it's highly polished stainless to where it looks like chrome. And these syrup evaporators, I mean, it looks like an Italian espresso machine. They're just fantastic, all shiny metal knobs and dials and stuff everywhere. They're great. But as kind of a nod to that heritage, they have partnered with a local producer of a lot of seasonings and rubs and stuff like that. And they actually have an entire line of rubs and sauces, and all of them have a little bit of maple in it.
Right. Well, that's crazy. It's intriguing to me how stuff like that comes together. How, a maple syrup evaporator.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
How a business like that segues to this?
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued, and I want to encourage you to, as you progress with your experience with these grills, please post about what you've been doing in the Kamado Guru group. And I want to follow it. I want to see what's going on, because I believe this is a really intriguing system. I'm impressed with what I've seen and the capabilities that this thing's going to have. It's not really like anything I've come across before, and I'm excited about it. I really am. So,
yeah. Well, I've got now that I'm kind of through having taken all of our marketing photos and all the photos that you wanted for tonight and stuff like that. I've been I'm sure I was gonna say you have no idea, but you guys have every idea how hard it's been to not light these for the last month that they've been sitting in my garage.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Also, this video,
like a kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
Jason, this live stream that we're doing will be available on YouTube. You can refer back to this, and you can if anybody wants some detailed information about what they have, you can refer them back to this video, and it'll be there on YouTube indefinitely.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Well, I'm planning the first cook this weekend, and we're gonna break it in with the tried and true, kind of benchmark for me is let's see how it does with the pork butt and a rack of ribs.
Exactly.
And we aren't gonna try any new methods. We aren't gonna try anything fancy. We're just gonna go low and slow and see what the result is. And I'll be doing a video of the cook and of the results and all that, and put it on our YouTube channel as well. And I think what's really exciting about this for me is that I think you said it to me first, John. Like, you really couldn't find out anything about it. There weren't any cook videos on YouTube or something like that.
Well, that's just the thing, man. When I saw your grill before I replied to you, the first thing I did was went to YouTube.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I do YouTube content as well. So I went to see who's got this thing and what are they doing with it.
Yeah. So I have a great opportunity ahead of me to create a lot of good content as we stretch the legs.
Yes, and get it out there, because being the first person to put that content out there is gonna grow your YouTube channel. So make sure get a lot of good content there and post it all on you can post the Man Cave Meals group as well if you like, but definitely put it on the Kamado Guru group. That's a larger group, and I'll make sure that I've already told the moderators in that group that this content's okay.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, one of my moderators pinged me about it when you posted it. That's why I came to have a look, because I don't let everybody, do that kind of content. But this is a Kamado, and I believe it's enough of a Kamado that I think it fits into that community very well. It behaves like a Kamado. It's just a little different. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and I appreciate that, because clearly there's a commercial aspect to this that I have a vested interest in. But I'm here doing this today because that little hobby I had of doing some barbecue casually on the weekends 20 some years later has led me to this here today, right? So I don't really want to just sell grills to people. I want to be a contributing member of that community.
Well, after you've got 6 months of experience of cooking on that grill multiple times a week, I'd like to have you back on.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
I would like to know how you feel about it after getting some mileage under your belt with it, because that's the really telling story about something like this is how well you like the results, what it's doing, and by then you'll have a whole photo. Make lots of photos as you go along with your video content, because that's the kind of thing that tells a story and that sells a grill. Photos and videos, that sells the grill, and it doesn't have to be a commercially produced photograph of a Jeff. What's the word? What do they call it? What do the marketing people call food photographs that they've meticulously set up and it's
food porn?
That. But just a snapshot of what's going on that grill is more. It's a better sales tool than that manicured food photo. So get a library of those things going and hang on to them, because I'd like to go back and look at some of them with you, and I would like to hear about your cooking experiences and how you feel about it. And I like to look at it again for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And kind of like we were saying earlier about bread, worst case scenario, if I'm doing a whole bunch of cooking, I just end up with more barbecue.
Yeah.
And that's the downside.
Jeff, he doesn't know about what we did during the pandemic, Jeff. Back during when we were in lockdown, Jeff and I made a list of bread and baking projects that we wanted to master that weren't barbecue. And we were doing this during the pandemic. We did sourdough bread, we did ciabatta, we did bagels, we did sandwich loaf bread.
Oh yeah.
Jeff, what am I missing here? We did a couple more.
Focaccia, cinnamon rolls.
Focaccia, cinnamon rolls, yeah.
that was my jam during lockdown with cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
And like that's a dangerous slippery slope.
It is.
But man, John and I have perfected a cinnamon roll recipe.
We mastered it. I mean, some of these projects we went through 4 or 5 iterations of it to get to perfection, but we got to perfection on everything we did.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's I know we're going off topic with bread, but it's a learning curve. But once you figure out a lot of technique and stuff, you look back, kind of like what you were saying about taking photos and looking back and how you like something. Well, when you start out, even if you're dealing with something pretty dry, you're just making a mess of dough everywhere, nothing comes together, and then a year down the road, you're working with a 78% hydration loaf that just looks like a puddle, yet you're able to quickly form it and move it and do it and go, how did I get from there to here?
Focaccia benefits from those wet doughs, 75 to 80% hydration, and in reality, sourdough does as well. But we had.
What did we get our focaccia up to, John? Weren't we at around 80%?
I was at 75%, I think, on the focaccia. But I've seen focaccias done at 80, 85%. But this is why I want one of those spiral mixers, because the spiral mixer will build that gluten network that I really need. And I haven't coughed up the money for one of those mixers yet. But
yeah, I can't blame you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
Tanya,
I just want
remembers
cinnamon
when
rolls.
Jeff and I were doing all that. We cooked a lot of Tanya, I think the bagels might have been Tanya's favorite thing that came out of the pandemic stuff that Jeff and I did.
It was good. I enjoyed the focaccia though. I had one thing highlighted that I just wanted to bring up right quick. I had several people comment on good customer service from Mark.
Okay.
So I just kind of wanted to pass that along.
Hey, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mark.
Mark's got one of the
Jason, yeah.
pieces. Okay. Mark, has Mark got Kamados or Kamados in his outdoor kitchen?
Mark's a Kamado Joe guy. He's got a big Joe.
Good. Excellent. So Tanya, that's another thing. Has there been anything that we need to address that we've not got to yet? Tanya keeps up with these things for us in the background.
I don't think so. Mark's had lots of questions. Mark Ashby's had lots of questions. Okay.
Mark was asking one about is there any significance in the shape? And I don't really think. Is Matchless Cabinet the only outlet for sales on these grills? Currently, I believe it is.
So you can buy direct from the manufacturer. Silver Rocket has a website, and you can buy directly from them. I sell as well with the exact same prices. Certainly, if you look at our business, right, of having the outdoor kitchen set up and stuff, I'm trying to do an all-in-one for people. And we do some discount bundling and stuff like that if somebody's interested in buying, cabinets and grills and stuff like that. Otherwise, they have a number of, I would say like mom and pop, small dealers. But I would be the only other one who's got it online right now.
So that would be my question: are you going to build a dealer network on these, or is it just going to be indirect?
For myself, it's just going to be direct through Matchless. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So and we just fulfill and drop ship straight from the factory. So
that's definitely an LTL shipment. So
yes, it's definitely an LTL shipment.
FedEx is going to deliver that like they delivered my pellet grill.
Okay, question, Jason. If you were to buy one, is there a wait time to get one, or is it order it today?
Okay. Yep, they're in stock, so it's just a matter of putting it on a truck the next business day, and
So, yeah, currently they're available.
Yep.
So matchlesscabinet.com. I've got Jason. I don't know if you can see it or not. I've got your URL floating across the bottom of the screen here. So guys, if you're interested in that or want to look at the pricing and the stuff that's available on this, go have a look at Jason's website, and it's all there. I've already browsed through most of it. So
yeah,
Jason, I appreciate you coming on.
One more question.
Yeah, okay.
Cindy wanted to know, do you do custom builds or modified design of yours?
Oh, okay. So on cabinetry, everything that we have is modular, right? So we can put together any sort of outdoor kitchen, any size, shape, whatever, all from standard cabinets. And we do that. We do like design services and whatnot, no charge. We've also got an online 3D planning tool that you can, if you can drag and drop, you can build a kitchen, and it's going to give you pricing and everything right there.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll try to wrap things up. Jason, I appreciate you coming on with us tonight. I've learned a lot, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what I've seen. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more about the Sonic Rocket and the Silver Rocket in coming weeks. Or let's say coming days. I want to push you a little bit. Let's get it going.
I've got it lined up for Sunday. We're gonna spend the day rolling smoke and having pork at the end.
Perfect. All right.
Is it show and tell time, John?
Sure. Oh yeah. Let me we'll get that up full screen here in a moment. Jeff's made another let me see if I can hang on. Solo layout. Jeff, show that up there again. Jeff's making another cutting board here. Does that come apart or is it one piece?
No, that's two cutting boards. It's called the Romeo and Juliet cutting / charcuterie board.
Yep. Show it up there again.
You see their little butts on the edges there?
Yep. That's pretty slick.
All
right.
Anyway, that's my show and tell. That's what I've been doing this week.
Jeff's been busy, so this week, guys, I've had my week's been kind of screwed up by the fact on my way home from work Monday morning, I dropped my car off at the garage and I didn't get it back until yesterday afternoon. I had a repair job that got a couple of days out of control. So, I've been hanging tight by the house and I haven't done a lot of cooking, but I've been continuing to do testing and figuring out what I like and don't like about the new Camp Chef Woodwind Pro 24 pellet grill that I bought. So I'll have some more stuff on that for y'all next week. Maybe I've done a good bit of cooking on it. So Jason, do you have a pellet grill or have you played with pellet grills?
I do not own a pellet grill. I've played with them.
Yeah,
I've eaten a lot of good food off of them too. I'm not elitist about stuff. I say cook on what you like cooking on.
Yep. Well, that's kind of how Jeff and I are. We like a lot of different platforms, and I'm one of these people. It's not the grill; it's the guy that's using it that makes the food good or bad. So, Jeff and I have learned to get the best out of pellet grills. We have done some deep dives into procedural methods on people grills, and we've learned how to get great barbecue.
Oh yeah, so, I don't doubt it. I mean, I've got old friends who've been in the competitive barbecue circuit, for decades, and when pellet grills kind of first came on, they were doing some early adoption, right? And a lot of guys gave them crap, and then now everyone had them, and then maybe now it's kind of trending back the other way that it's become a little bit more mainstream.
That brings up an idea. The competitive market. This is something that you should talk to the manufacturer about on these Sonics. You need to find somebody that's in the competitive barbecue field and put them in one of these things, because that is a perfect. That's a perfect sales tool.
I've been thinking about that. You know, I know quite a few people who are in the competitive barbecue space. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know, being here in Kansas City,
Mhm.
but I need somebody who intersects also with the YouTube
Yeah.
segment. So I'm open to suggestions. If anybody knows somebody who's got a large social following and does competitive barbecue and wants to try one out.
Start with Malcolm Reed.
Yeah, I know who Malcolm is.
Malcolm's doing YouTube, so you know, I don't know if Malcolm charges to do that kind of stuff or not, but Malcolm's got a huge YouTube following, and Malcolm plays in the competitive barbecue circuit.
Okay.
Yes, so
not a bad idea.
That would be where I would start. I don't think Matt Pittman's owned by a couple of other manufacturers, so I don't know if he could do it or not. But Malcolm would be somewhere I would start. Or Mo Cason doesn't do YouTube, but I think Malcolm's the only one that fits both of those bills that I can think of right off the top of my head. Jeff, do you know anybody that competes in the KCBS stuff and does YouTube?
Just Malcolm. That's the only one that I know of.
Malcolm, I'd start right there because everybody loves Malcolm.
Oh yeah. I might do that. I might reach out and go fishing, see what I can find.
Yeah, he may. You know, Malcolm's wife, Rochelle, handles most of his stuff, so you'll get a hold of one or the other. But I would talk to one of them for sure because they do YouTube and they do competitive barbecue.
Oh, I appreciate your feedback on that.
Malcolm doesn't live too far from Memphis. I don't think he's in that general vicinity somewhere. I don't remember exactly where he is, but he's not far from Memphis. How far are you from? You're not that far from Memphis either, I wouldn't figure.
No, it's not too bad. I used to spend quite a bit of time in Memphis. I used to have to go there about once a week, and you know, it's a 7-ish hour drive, or 5 if I'm driving by myself.
Yeah, I'm about 8 hours from Memphis, so we're not that
you're
far.
A little ways.
Yeah, we're kind of close, about the same distance as Memphis.
We'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, all right. Okay, well, we're going to wrap things up. Jason, I appreciate you coming on with us, and I'm looking forward to having you back when we can get some feedback about some hands-on time with that grill. So thanks for coming on with us tonight. And guys, y'all have a good week, and we will see you next Thursday.